Stay ahead of the storm this winter with the CBS 17 Storm Team.
Hello from the CBS 17 studios in Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm Wes Hohenstein. Whether we are ready or not, winter has arrived in the Tar Heel State, and for the next 30 minutes, the CBS 17 Storm Team will help you get ready to stay ahead of the storm. This season, the snow machine got off to an early start when a trace of snow fell on November 11th in the Triangle. While it was early in the season, it wasn't the earliest. That happened October 24th, 1903. Then the first Friday of December, the 5th, brought us a wintry mixed mess that had a little sleet and snow, but mostly cold rain. A few days later, on the 8th, we had another rain-snow mix that produced more than an inch of snow north of the Triangle and got kids out of school for a couple days. What about the rest of this winter's outlook? If you would have asked me earlier this year when we were in the midst of some of the hottest months on record, I would have said, no way are we getting snow this year. And then August arrived and things changed. In fact, the last few months have really turned this year's winter outlook upside down. So here it is, this year's winter weather outlook for Central North Carolina.
It was a streak that lasted nearly 3 years. But last January, our 1,076-day run of no measurable snow came to an end in Central North Carolina. It snowed January 10th, January 21st, and again February 19th and 20th. It only totaled 4.8 inches of snow for the winter, but it was the most we've seen in 6 years. Like most winters in the United States, the formation of El Nino or La Nina draws a lot of forecast attention. The Pacific Ocean weather pattern that influences winter weather across the U.S. is expected to favor La Nina conditions this winter, but it does not do much to change North Carolina winters.
Let's crunch some numbers. Since 1950, when we began tracking El Nino and La Nina, for the winter months of December, January, and February, these are our average temperatures, our average precipitation amounts, and our average snowfall amounts, comparing El Nino, La Nina, and neutral years. As you can see, there are minor differences, including in the snowfall amounts here in the bottom, but nothing substantial enough where I want to base an entire season's forecast on this alone. The biggest impact on our snow totals the past several years continues to be our incredibly warm temperatures. Even with the cool months recently, the first 10 months of 2025 in the Triangle are the 4th warmest on record. These are the current standings using average temperatures, which factor in highs and lows.
This continues the trend of our warming climate locally over the past 60 years. Our average winter temperatures have gone up more than 6 degrees, from an average of around 40 degrees in the 1960s to nearing 47 degrees so far this decade. Consider the biggest snow event in Triangle history from January 2000. There was more than 20 inches of fresh powder, and events like that are getting harder and harder to remember because the warmer temperatures have led to less snow. We've now had 6 winters in a row with below average snow totals. Our all-time average snowfall in the Triangle the past 137 years, since 1887, is 6.7 inches. The average over the past 50 years, though, is down to 5.7 inches. And in just the last 10 years, the average is only 3.2 inches.
What about our old friend, the polar vortex? Most years, we don't see or feel much from it as the cold air stays over the pole when there is stable circulation. This winter, there is less sea ice at the North Pole, leading to warmer air and the potential to disrupt the polar vortex. These disruptions lead to wobbling around the poles, and those wobbles could lead to a better chance of cold air spilling down to the Carolinas. Wobbles or not, most of our snow over the years falls in January. In fact, 50% happens in the first month of the year. February comes in second, and December third. Now, if we look at the January outlook from the European forecast model, you see plenty of warm temperatures across the United States. But there is a pretty significant dip in temperatures here in blue that you can see coming from Canada. It's that type of pattern that we've seen the past few months. And if it continues into this January, that could lead to more snow this winter.
So this year's outlook includes average temperatures. Our big temperature fluctuations will continue, leading to a good mix of warm days with some really cold snaps. The active storm pattern will also continue, and while storms don't always mean snowstorms, precipitation will also be average this winter. And this winter is setting up to have the most snow in 7 years. And while that isn't saying much, we should be able to have an average or slightly above average snowfall this winter, so at least 5 inches or more.
All right, couple more notes. This early season snow we've had, and even the snow up in the mountains already, that doesn't guarantee us anything the rest of this winter. And remember, La Nina winters, like we are expecting this year, doesn't mean more snow here usually. But the monster storm back in January 2000 happened during a La Nina winter. Now, Duke Energy has crews on standby ahead of any winter storms, and when ice gets involved, there is more at risk. Jeff Brooks with Duke Energy says they work year-round to maintain trees and vegetation around power lines.
It only takes about 1/4 of an inch of ice accumulation on tree limbs to start bringing them down onto power lines, and that can create outages. Last few years, we've been making significant improvements to the electric grid, strengthening it against a variety of weather conditions, including snow and ice, and adding new technologies like self-healing technology that can automatically reroute power around problems and restore service faster.
Now, before the power outages, before the snow falls, and before the ice builds up on the roads, it's a good idea to get a plan together well before the next winter storm hits. This includes ensuring you're stocked up on an emergency supply of food and water, and this should include foods you don't have to cook, like canned meat or other non-perishables. The National Weather Service recommends you have enough food and medicine for about 3 to 5 days. Also, make sure you have warm clothing and blankets, an updated first aid kit, and along with flashlight and batteries, plus a battery-operated radio. Keeping warm during a cold spell can be challenging when you're trying to keep costs down or the traditional heater isn't working properly. If you're going to use something like a space heater, that's when you have to be extra careful. The American Red Cross recommends putting the space heater on a level, hard, and non-flammable surface. Never put it on a rug or carpets, and keep it away from bedding, curtains, and drapes. And you should only plug space heaters directly into the wall. Don't plug it into a device, into a power strip, or use an extension cord. Those things are not designed to handle the high electrical current. And of course, keep kids and pets away from the heater, and be sure to turn it off anytime you leave the room or go to sleep. Now, all of this, of course, is to avoid starting potential fires. And to add to that advice, firefighters and safety experts urge you not, under any circumstances, to use an oven or cooking range to heat your home or apartment. And if you're using a fireplace, never leave the fire burning unattended. Make sure you put out any embers before going to sleep or leaving home. You should also have it inspected annually by a professional and cleaned if necessary. Now, this is often the time of year when a lot of incidents involving carbon monoxide poisoning happen. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says carbon monoxide poisoning linked to portable generators are blamed for at least 100 deaths a year in the United States. Experts urge you to get carbon monoxide alarms and install one on every level of your home and outside sleeping areas. You should also check the batteries regularly, like a smoke detector.
Get a professional inspection of your furnace and your other fuel-burning appliances every year. And 3, never use a portable generator inside your home. That's where we see the most number of deaths related to carbon monoxide.
Yeah, even opening doors or windows will not provide enough ventilation to prevent potentially deadly levels of carbon monoxide from building up. And don't forget about your pets. Remember, if it's too cold outdoors for you, it's probably too cold for our furry friends. Even outdoor pets can suffer during the colder weather months. So it's important to provide adequate shelter to help them beat the cold. Experts say you should have shelter up before the temperatures drop. Make sure it's raised off the ground so they don't have to walk through any mud, water, ice, or snow. You'll also want to have some kind of insulation like straw inside it, And avoid bedding or fabric because if it gets wet, it could actually do more harm than good. And if you put your pets in a shed or garage, make sure to get any chemicals out of the way, especially antifreeze. All right, coming up after the break, driving in winter weather. Many of you think North Carolinians can't drive on a sunny day, let alone in snow and ice. Well, meteorologist Ross Whitley is going to take us out in the elements to help make us all better drivers. And then to the mountains we go. It's ski season, but how are the resorts doing after a few low snow years and after Hurricane Helene? All that and more when we return. Whether you're dealing with rain, snow, or icy road conditions, it's crucial that you pay close attention to potential hazards on the roads during winter weather and storms. One false move could mean the difference between making it home safely and a disaster that could lead to destruction of property, injuries, or worse. Winter's here, and the threat of ice, even a thin glaze, can turn your morning commute dangerous. We're taking a closer look at what to do when roads turn slick and what you need to know to stay safe behind the wheel. Meteorologist Ross Whitley shows us the best way to combat winter weather driving conditions.
The road might just look wet, but when temperatures drop below freezing, that wet look can be dangerous fast. Any combination of below freezing temperatures and moisture can lead to slick conditions quickly. Black ice, snow, sleet, and freezing rain all cause hazardous driving conditions. Even just 1/10 of an inch of ice can make stopping or turning almost impossible. The key is to simply slow way down. Never use cruise control on icy conditions. Every move you make should be gentle. No sudden braking, no sharp turns, and easy pressure on the gas. Black ice looks just like this, a wet road, but when temperatures are below freezing, that wet road can actually be solid frozen ice. Forms most often overnight into the early morning hours when water refreezes onto that roadway. And you'll find the ice first on bridges and overpasses. That's because cold air wraps completely around the structure without the ground underneath it to hold warmth, like the regular roads. And this can freeze faster even than the regular roads. Keep plenty of space between cars, 8 to 10 seconds, because it can take up to 10 times longer to stop on ice. The general rule, 8 to 10 seconds of following distance at 30 miles per hour, that's about 300 to 400 feet. At 45 miles per hour, that's about 500 to 600 feet. And at 60 miles per hour, about 700 to 800 feet. Slow down and give yourself time to stop. If your vehicle starts to skid, ease off the gas, steer gently in the direction you want the front of the car to go, and let the vehicle straighten out without overcorrecting. Before you even hit the road, clear your windows, keep your gas tank at least half full, and pack the basics: a blanket, a flashlight, a phone charger. Plan your route, know where the hills are, and maintain a steady, controlled pace. Hills are especially tough. Use a low gear or let your momentum carry you instead of having to accelerate up on ice. Bottom line, the safest decision is to stay home in ice and snow and dangerous road conditions. But if you have to go out, plan ahead. Give yourself plenty of time and space.
Now, if you do have to drive during a winter storm, AAA recommends you do it with a full tank of gas. You should also test your battery, top off your windshield washer fluid, and make sure you have an emergency car kit that includes water, snacks, an ice scraper, extra warm clothing, and jumper cables. We've mentioned it before for the house, but the same is recommended if you're on the go. Bring a flashlight with extra batteries and a first aid kit. Winter also means the holidays and Christmas trees. But how are the Christmas tree farmers doing after Hurricane Helene? Meteorologist Matthew Huddleston talks to a farmer coming up. But first, meteorologist Rachel Dunsine. She isn't ready for a double black diamond run, but she is talking to some North Carolina ski resorts about how Helene impacted them. That's right after the break. The first snowflakes of the season. They can bring delight or disgust, but one group who loves it when the weather turns cold and the flakes start to fly, our state's ski resorts. Meteorologist Rachel Dunseen spoke with 2 resorts on how business has been so far this season and how they're doing after Hurricane Helene.
For nearly 60 years, skiers have been taking to the slopes of Beech and Sugar Mountains in western North Carolina, soaking up the views, breathing in the cold air as they speed down the mountain. Then Helene happened. The hurricane changed the mountains. Mudslides caused devastation and communities were cut off. But despite the disaster, these ski resorts opened for business.
We were certainly some of the lucky ones here.
Talia Freeman, the director of marketing and sales at Beech Mountain Ski Resort, says there was some damage, but they were still able to open, get the lifts going, and get money flowing into the community.
Once we got the messaging out that we were open, we were able to really have a strong season, and we were able to get visitors up here, and I think people really embraced that.
And 10 miles south at Sugar Mountain Ski Resort, it's the exact same passion.
The entire community got the economy moving again, money flowing back into the area. People had jobs. So I think everyone was just relieved in a way and heartwarmed that people were still coming to the mountains, to the North Carolina mountains to ski.
And this season, the resorts are expecting a strong season. Sugar Mountain was the first resort to open on the East Coast, and, well,
people are loving it. We've got people coming from all over the Southeast. Weekends are very busy, and it's starting to weekday and night business is also starting to pick up. So people are ready to come out and ski, and they're loving the conditions.
Beech opened the first weekend of December, but even before folks could hit the slopes, the phones were ringing off the hook as excitement built.
Our season pass sales so far have been trending up from last year, and we're just inundated right now with calls and excited customers, and I expect a very strong winter season.
The weather obviously plays a big role for our ski resorts. Even to make snow, the weather has to be cold enough. But when everything comes together perfectly.
The environment here speaks for itself, and that's what I like to brag about. It's just it is what it is, and it's beautiful.
It's this nostalgic, magical feeling when you visit Beech Mountain that really there's nothing else that compares to it.
Western North Carolina is resilient, and no matter what the weather or anything else throws at them, the resorts are ready to welcome us all to the slopes again.
As we've seen and experienced, we can weather hurricanes, we can weather bad economies, we can weather COVID, all these things. It's all about the weather. So if we've got cold weather, snowmaking weather, if we've got snowstorms, it's going to be a good ski year.
I'm meteorologist Rachel Dunseen, CBS 17.
Good stuff up there. All right, from the resorts to the farms. While most of the region is beginning to bounce back, some Christmas tree farmers are taking a little longer to recover. Storm Team meteorologist Matthew Huddleston brings us the story of a local tree farmer and how the storm impacted its owner.
I've heard some places suffered. A lot of tree damage.
It's been more than a year since Hurricane Helene devastated the North Carolina mountains, dumping as much as 20 to 30 inches of rain. The system produced widespread mudslides and flooding, which had a big impact on countless Christmas tree farms, with thousands of trees completely washing away.
If you're out here long enough, you don't smell them as much.
James Lake Tree Farm owner Byron May says he was lucky, as the farm they use for their Apex tree supplies wasn't greatly affected.
We're fortunate that the grower that we work with in Sparta and Allegheny County, they didn't have as much flooding, didn't have as much damage.
While they were mostly fine, places such as Avery County didn't fare as well. That county alone lost hundreds of thousands of Christmas trees, as well as a lot of the equipment used to farm them. The type of Christmas trees grown in the mountains can only be found at high elevations, and those lost will take time to fully recover. For Fraser fir trees like these, the growing process can be quite lengthy, taking upwards of a decade to get to this height. But some families aren't looking for the tallest tree on the lot. A group of cousins from Washington, North Carolina say they're just happy browsing real trees and not ones in boxes on a shelf.
It's way better than just going to the store and getting a fake one. It's like you're actually experiencing it.
Customer Karen Coffey says she enjoys the collective experience of everyone searching for the perfect tree to take home and being excited when they come across it.
Listening to everyone around us saying, "I found the one!" That's what we love about it.
Coffey also points out one specific shared love of many people during the holiday season: something you can only experience with a fresh Fraser fir.
Once you bring it in the house and it starts to relax and take in water, the smells of the beautiful fresh tree fill the home.
It's fun.
Farm owner Byron May says he's seen a lot of changes in the 3 decades of their farm, with some people who started off in strollers now bringing kids of their own.
They'll go through 5 or 6 trees, decide which one they want.
With hundreds of trees to pick from, deciding on the right one for each family is no easy task.
It's always fun to watch the families how they decide what tree it is. You know, Dad wants this tree. This one's too big. They're considered, you know, where they're going to put it, how they're going to decorate it. The kids look, you know, say, I want the big one.
Want the big
yeah, they
one.
want the big tree. They want the big tree. Dad said, well, we can't get that one in the house.
Not gonna fit in the car.
Yeah.
Whatever size and shape tree a family decides on, each person can be proud knowing it came from the North Carolina mountains. All the regional tree farms continue to bounce back following a major setback just 1 year ago from a storm no one in the area will ever forget. I'm meteorologist Matthew Huddleston for CBS 17 News.
Yeah, we do real trees in my house, and we've been to a Jordan Lake Christmas tree farm many times. Hey, one more quick break, and then I'm going to test your North Carolina winter weather knowledge. Like, do you know the coldest temperatures we've ever had in the Triangle or the most snow? That and a few final thoughts after this. Well, I think we all know Central North Carolina has had some wild winter weather over the years, but how well do you know the coldest or the snowiest? Well, let's take you to school and review some of them now. And we will start with the coldest temperatures ever. Only 4 times in our history have we been below 0. And the coldest of those was January 21st, 1985, 9 below 0. And that happened the day after our second coldest morning, 3 below 0. So that is a cold stretch back in 1985. How about our biggest snowstorms ever? We alluded to it earlier, but back in January of 2000, we saw more than 20 inches of snow. Schools and businesses, as you can imagine, were shut down for a week or more. But the snowiest winter, so December, January, and February, got to go way back to the 1800s where we had 31 inches. No telling how long things were shut down back then. So we'll see what happens this winter. But for now, that's going to do it for this year's winter weather version of helping you stay ahead of the storm. For all of us here at CBS 17, stay warm, and thanks for watching.